Culture moves at the speed of our conversations. When conversations change, everything else can too. Excellence isn't just what we do, it's how we do it together. Now, before we launch sprints or roll out tools, we agree on how we'll work together. 5 simple agreements change the tone, pace, and quality of our work. Embrace curiosity, be courageous, reframe, trust the process, and grow together. Now, these aren't just slogans. They're the evidence-based professional ground rules that make improvement possible and faster. I've been using these with my clients for years, and the impact on growth is phenomenal. Amy Edmondson's research shows that when people feel safe to ask questions, admit uncertainty, and learn out loud, what she calls psychological safety, teams learn more and perform better. Simply put, make it safe, and people get brave. A large meta-analysis by Fraser and colleagues links psychological safety with stronger task performance and everyday behaviors that make teams great. Speaking up, helping, problem-solving, improving practice, that's not soft. That's the performance engine of a learning organization. Because we want schools where adults and students can grow, we bake that growth stance into how we work. Now that's where the first agreement begins. Embrace curiosity, or ask the next question. We assume we don't see the whole picture and that we don't know everything, so we ask. If we did know everything, school would be a dawdle and we would all be out of a job. Now, Carol Dweck's work on growth mindset shows that when people see ability as developable, they engage, persist, and improve, especially after setbacks. Now, at a national scale, David Yeager and colleagues found mindset supports can lift achievement where they're well-designed and embedded. Curiosity isn't just pleasant, it's predictive. Now, Sophie von Stum, Benedict Hell, and Thomas Camaro Premusic call it the hungry mind, showing intellectual curiosity contributes uniquely to learning outcomes alongside effort and intelligence. Imagine that. Intellectual curiosity contributes to learning outcomes right alongside effort and intelligence. Now, curiosity opens the door, but courage helps us walk through it. Progress requires small, intelligent risks. Courage here isn't grandstanding. It's saying the things that need saying. It's inviting others to test your thinking. When leaders model fallibility, here's what I might be thinking. It may be wrong. What are you seeing? We lower the interpersonal cost of speaking up. That's the bridge from safety to learning to performance that Edmondson describes. Courage is practical. Bring the uncomfortable data. Name the elephant. Kindly. Commit to one concrete test this sprint so that we learn something real. Meta-analytic evidence tells us that where people can take interpersonal risks, performance and improvement behaviors go up. So, be courageous, say it plainly, then invite challenge. Now, once the truth is on the table, we often slam into a wall of statements, and that's our cue to reframe. Statements end with a full stop, but questions create air. So we use a shared cue. Hey, let's reframe that. When someone says, we don't have time for that, we say, hey, let's reframe that, and we convert it into a question. How might we protect time for a 6-week pilot? If someone says, parents won't support this, we say, hey, let's reframe that and ask, how might we bring parent champions into the first sprint? Turning statements into questions invites evidence, options, and ownership. And you'll hear that cue in my meetings all the time. It's permission to move from stuck to possible. Reframing isn't just rhetoric, it's a form of cognitive reappraisal, changing how we construe a situation. James Gross shows reappraisal reduces negative affect and preserves the cognitive bandwidth we need for problem solving, whereas late-stage suppression is effortful and less effective for learning. For the question structure, we borrow a proven design habit. How might we? Properly framed how might we questions keep options open and signal possibility, perfect for leadership teams and PLCs. From statement to question to possibility. Now, once we've opened a path, we need rhythm to move it, and that's the next agreement. Trust the process. Improvement isn't a personality, it's a process. We commit to disciplined cycles rather than ad hoc pushes. That's why our leadership sprints are short and focused. Set a clear aim, predict, test, study the evidence, and then adopt, adapt, or abandon. The Carnegie Foundation's improvement principles make this explicit. Be problem-specific and user-centered. See the system, measure what matters, run disciplined inquiry cycles like PDSA, and accelerate learning through networks. In practice, we set a 6-week aim, define the measures, run the test, and study in real time. We don't wait a year for results. We look at leading indicators each fortnight so teams can steer. Rhythm creates results, and that's why we trust the process. Now that rhythm becomes even more powerful when we stop working alone. And that's where the final agreement lives: grow together. We are not lone heroes. Improvement is a team sport. Etienne and Beverly Wenger Trainer describe communities of practice as groups who share a common concern or passion and learn how to do it better through regular interaction. Now that's exactly what the Excellence Network is designed to enable: visible practice, shared artifacts, and collective problem solving across schools so that no one has to reinvent the wheel. And it matters for students. Rachel L's meta-analysis shows collective teacher efficacy has a strong positive correlation with student achievement. When adults build shared belief and shared practice around evidence and clear goals, students win. We go further when we go together, and so grow together is our 5th agreement. Now, here's how we use the 5 agreements, starting right now. Keep them visible in leadership and PLC sessions. Refer to them in the moment to steer tricky conversations without drama. When you hear a full-stop statement, invite growth with, "Hey, let's reframe that." When you feel stuck, return to curiosity and ask the next question. When pace feels pressured, trust the sprint, rhythm, and the measures. Every cycle, share one insight and one artifact to strengthen the Excellence Network and lift collective efficacy. Safer conversations, sharper thinking, stronger results. That's the pathway to inspired teaching, empowered learning, and intentional leadership. First, let's agree on how we'll learn. Then, watch how quickly the growth follows.